Hey, I'm Bishop Walker.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
And we want to thank you for another episode. Tuning in to this channel. We are so grateful to have you connected. And let me tell you something, man. So many of you have been so kind, letting us know how this channel is changing your life, helping you understand practical things about life and just about balance and all the things that we talk about. And we're excited. So make sure, first of all, make sure you subscribe to this channel, right? And make sure you like and make sure you comment. We love to hear your comments about topics or things that we talk about. We kind of read those so we kind of know what you're feeling and what you're saying. And hit that bell to make sure you get the notifications when we're going to be on. And today we're excited because this episode, man, it's like the bread and butter of our lives, right? Balancing marriage and family. And you know what? The truth is, let me tell you how it started today. Like literally, had to take Giovanni to camp. Come back home, and then I had to take Joseph to swim, and then come home, and we recorded this to go right back to Giovanni
to go surprise her
in a 30-minute window to make sure we're at her show at 2:30. To come back home to do all the exploits with Joseph. It's back and forth. It's nonstop, and you know that's our life, right? And we talk about how do we maintain that. We got a lot to talk about because for us, a lot of people see that and they see the movement, but I kind of think it's like an ordered chaos. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure, ordered chaos, but it hasn't always been that way. Like we weren't always actually good at it. We actually came to this place through trial and error. And so I feel like now we're kind of in that pocket where this is just us and how we roll. And I think we do a pretty good job in terms of making sure that, yeah, we're taking really good care of our kids, but like you can take care of your kids and like forego your marriage relationship. So it's so important to recognize sort of the gift that God has given you in your mate or your spouse, right? And make sure that you're taking care of like that first thing.
Yeah, and one classic example of that was, you know, we looked at when school was out, what we were going to do.
For summer,
right? And we made a very intentional decision. We could have gone 2 weeks, just her and I, and get away and travel the world like we need to. But we decided we were going to take a cruise. First.
With our kids. And that was phenomenal.
It was crazy. I mean, the fun we had. I mean, remember the putt-putt? Wasn't that crazy?
Putt, climbing walls and islands and beach and swim and pools and water slides and arcades and, I mean, you name it, like, that cruise had everything from ice skating to, I mean, ice skating on the freaking cruise. Can you imagine?
It was amazing.
It was awesome.
And the kids had a great time.
Yeah,
we were up all night. I mean, they didn't want to go to bed. And we were up all night. It was so much fun. But I think it was really about us rewarding them for a great school year. And
for all the hard work.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's so important, right? Because we put the kids first and we said, we're going to make sure we give you your time. We also prepared them.
In that moment, we put them first.
Yeah, because we prepared them for what's going to happen the next week.
Drop you off with Grandma and Papa, and we're out.
we got off that cruise. We came
on a Saturday.
Came back to Nashville. I preached Sunday, and Sunday night we were on a plane on our way to Greece. And just you and I.
Just the two of us.
And it was amazing. And the kids were fine because the grandparents were here. And we just enjoyed our time together to be able to go to Santorini. And what a dinner that was.
Oh my gosh, it was the best food I've ever eaten in my life, y'all. It was so good.
I don't know if she was crying because of that romantic thing that was given to her or the fact that the food was so good. She was crying.
Both. It was so good.
And man,
it was beautiful. He was so sweet. He like pulled out all the stops, y'all. I got a good one.
And then we went over to Athens, right?
Yeah.
The nerd kicked in then, right? We were just like on all cylinders, you know, with the
all the
Acropolis.
history, the Acropolis, the Parthenon, all the history around the Greek mythologies. It was just amazing, like looking out our window and you're literally sitting in like your Greek mythology book. From high school and college. I mean, it was just phenomenal.
What was, for let's talk about Athens. What was perhaps one or two of the most impactful things in Athens? Okay, I'm going to ask it twofold. The impactful things that you never will forget that happened there, just in terms of the trip itself, and then maybe a thing or two that you learned about me in Athens that were impactful to you.
So I'll say the two things that I think were extremely memorable was just, so we're getting out of the cab, we've identified our hotel, and I'm getting out and I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, well, I kind of hope we have just a view of like the Parthenon, Acropolis, like just a small view. I want to be able to see some history. And then we get to the room and like we have the best view in the entire hotel. We have 3 balconies and they're all looking at the Acropolis. So I went to sleep with the Acropolis. I woke up to the Acropolis. Like it was just stunning at night. It lit up. I mean, it was just almost like a dream, right? I think the other thing was when we were taking the tour on the grounds in and around the Parthenon, there was a site where the first sort of, we'll call them physicians of their day. So it was a place where people, as a physician, this is like awe-inspiring. It's a place where the people would come and bring their ails and pray.
Yeah.
And then make statues of some form of, let's say if they're praying for their mind or their arm or their nose or their ear, they'd make a statue of that element of body and place it on the altar and pray. And granted, I mean, they were praying to mythological gods, etc. We're Christian, but the idea of how medicine flows. And then we talked about in that moment, just like how even as Christians, we gather our communities together, right? And so we gather people together to pray for our ailments. We pray to our Lord and, what have you, but we also involve our community, our family, our friends, and that's exactly what they were doing, but in their own way. So it was just really awe-inspiring just to see the caduceus, which was like on a stone that was like 3,000 years old. I mean, it was just amazing.
Yeah. And what you learned about me?
I learned that my husband is super romantic and he's extremely thoughtful. And I think more importantly, we've been married for 14 years now. Like, he listens and he knows me. And I think that's important. In any relationship, you can, don your spouse with all kind of gifts and rubies and pearls and all these fancy things, but if it's not what they want, and if it's not what their love language is calling for, then it's great, but it's also not, you're not going to get the response that you want, essentially. And I've learned that he listens, he hears me. I mean, he did things and presented me with things that, I probably haven't talked about in years, but he knows my heart to know that those were things that were important to me.
I think, particularly for men who are watching and in relationships, I think, when you think about the balance of marriage and ministry for us, for me, I was the slacker because in terms of, really being present, I was moving around so much. I was working and working and doing. And she said something, and not out of spite, she just said it like, I feel like a single mom.
And I'm married.
And that was the moment for me that caused me to really reposition myself and my energy to realize, wait a minute, no, we're not doing that. And to really begin to rearrange my schedule and make my family the core. And then we began to sit down. I think we should talk about this because now I plan several calendars, the church calendar, the Full Gospel Baptist Church calendar. I plan personal calendars with mentees and mentors. And what we do, we sit down with our calendar first,
our family calendar.
Lay our dates on that calendar.
First. Before he does anything.
Before anything.
So our calendar is our kids' schedule, our family schedule, my personal schedule, any and all of our vacations, the kids' vacations, so that when he goes to look to see if he can do a speaking engagement, a travel engagement, something for the church, or planning events, he has to look at our calendar. Like, he sees our calendar in the backdrop to see whether or not it's a good date. And if it's, it can be something like Giovanni's, dance recital. He will not schedule anything on that day. And it is what it is. And it's taken some time to get to that point, but like, when you realize that your first assignment is to those who God has assigned to you, right, has blessed you with, like that's your first ministry, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Your ministry is whatever you're good at, your job, your occupation, whatever that thing is, right? You don't have to be in ministry for you to have a ministry. So whatever you're doing in life, that's your ministry. When you're blessing people by your presence, by your gifts, that's your ministry. But like those people that God puts in your life, that's your first ministry. That's who you're supposed to take care of. That's who you're supposed to think about first and foremost before you go out and do all these other things.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, right? Because so many people, we sacrifice, our marriage and our family on the altar of our ministry or our business and that kind of thing. And we've learned now, like we're in this sweet spot because it was trial and error.
Trial and error.
It was trial and error, but we've decided like to carve out time. So for us, planning our schedule, sometimes it's like air traffic control. I mean, it's really like, you really would be like, whoa, how do y'all make that happen? Like, I got to be here in 20 minutes and you got to be there and who's going to pick up the baby and who's going to, and we sit down and like, we talk about that.
It's color coded.
It's color coded. Like, and sometimes we'll forget, like the other day I forgot, I'm sitting at home just working in the garage.
I'm
She's
like,
like,
hey, honey.
you got the baby? I'm like, huh? Oh my God. I ran outside, jumped in the car, and I made the time up there, and I was like, yo! And she was none the wiser. But the point is, like, it's a great deal of fun and intentionality in that. And we don't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
Because every waking second, minute, and hour of the day is filled with purpose, tied to each other, tied to our family.
Yeah.
And we're very much locked in on that. And one of the things, I'll say is, and I've tried to do a better job at this, that when I'm home, like I'm home. I'm not home and like intertwined with all this other stuff. Like I really want to be present for her, present for our kids. And sometimes it's a challenge.
He's doing a better job at not answering the phone or answering text messages immediately if we're in the middle of something. But like, again, it's a work in progress. It's progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, doing better than you did the day before, the week before, and the month before is what we're looking for. We're not looking, like Rome wasn't built overnight, neither was Italy. Greece, but the Parthenon.
She can't get it out of her mind. It's amazing. I think the thing too, one of the things that we learn, like for example, is the importance of like date night. And the importance of like really
continuing to date your spouse.
Continuing to date. Because you can get caught in the minutia of just
living life
and just going and
the
going
grind.
And just and we
going through the motions.
Right.
Or just getting caught up with the busyness of life. Like when you have kids or you have a demanding career or you have, just basic dreams, goals, and aspirations, it's very easy to get caught up and so focused in just that. And I think there's a season for everything, but with those types of seasons where you do have to be laser sharp focused, you owe it to the people that you love around you to have that kind of conversation and be able to say, hey, look, like, I need to focus on X, Y, and Z. I have a goal in front of me. I have a promotion in front of me. I'm looking to get this job, whatever that thing is. Or I'm looking to start this business, open this catering, whatever. Like whatever you're trying to do. And get them on board. And so that the reward is, when you win, is the reward for the entire family. Whether you create a calendar on the wall and mark off the days, or, every time your kids like leave you alone, they get a prize. Like whatever that thing is, you have to incorporate everyone because otherwise it feels like you're just running or hiding or, just not prioritizing. Even my daughter, she, would come in, you guys know I work my beauty counter business from home, and like she'd come in and be like, you have 2 kids, right? Heartbreaking because she's telling me in her own little way, look, you're not paying us any attention. You're not prioritizing us. Like, what is wrong with you, lady? And eventually I learned how to balance. I learned how to put it down. Like I have multiple cell phones, one for life, one for, family, and one for my business. And so when I put my business down, I leave my cell phone in my office and that's that. I'm off.
Joseph will come into my office and it doesn't matter if I'm on a Zoom, doesn't matter the level or nature of that Zoom. He will walk into the office, he will come and he will talk to me, and I never make him feel bad. I never shame him for that because I think it's important for him to know he always has his daddy's attention.
And you're available anytime you need to.
And I think that is the key, right? Always creating, I think, an atmosphere of availability and presence. And I think that's important.
And not just for your kids.
Not just for the
but
kids.
also for your spouse.
Yeah, because this one right here, man, tell you, all she needs, take her out to dinner, get there by 6. By 8 o'clock, we done. We tired. we good, we out. That's why we don't go to places that want to give us the experience. Like you be sitting there like, come on, what a food. We like, no, get there at 6 o'clock. We eat, we sit up and talk, we get us some coffee on the way home through Starbucks, and we home by 8:15.
Give us a good movie, some popcorn, pop up in bed, keep your feet up, we're good.
It don't take much, right? And sometimes you don't realize it doesn't take a whole lot.
Yeah.
It just takes that level of consistency.
And intentionality.
That is. I think that's the important part. I think that's cool. I think some of the things that we've learned to, obviously, taking the kids with us and making the determination of when to and when not to.
When not to,
and that's important, right? Because I think in balancing all of this, that the key words I think that step out, right? There's intentionality. That's a word that really speaks to how you balance it. Because somebody watched and said, "Well, give me some things to help me know how to do it." Okay, so it's intentionality. You got to be intentional. You have to start out with that.
Even if it's so intentional that you have to put it on your calendar and schedule it like a meeting.
Yes, and then through that active intentionality, it's prioritizing, determining. Well, we've been blessed by an extraordinary book, Essentialism, and in that book, McEwen's book, he talks about protecting the asset.
Yeah.
And the
and
you are the asset.
Yes. Your body, your mind, your spirit.
Yeah.
How you take care of you is the asset. I mean, just think about it. If you don't take care of you, and if you're not healthy, happy, whole, focused, your mind's not right, how can you do anything else? You can't function. You can't, be accomplished. You can't take care of the things that you're responsible for, or the people that you're responsible for. You can't be a good spouse. You can't even be good to yourself. And so you really have to focus on protecting the asset, prioritizing you, then you can work on prioritizing those other layers in your life.
That's exactly right. So prioritization is important, and you have to be willing to determine that you get to choose that. Whatever you make a priority is what you're going to invest in. And so we made our family a priority, each other a priority, and that's what we invest in. I think.
And we call that the core four.
The core four, our family.
That's it.
That's the core four. And I think the other thing that's important are boundaries.
Boundaries,
You have to establish boundaries.
100%.
The ability to say no.
No is a complete sentence.
It's a complete sentence.
And it's okay. And I'm a firm believer in when you can't do something, or especially when you have to say no because of family obligations or things that not even obligation, like things you just want to do with your family, you're just prioritizing. Like the people around you need to be the types of people, like for me in my life anyway, that I don't give people an explanation. Like if you don't, for those around me, they don't need an explanation because they get it. And if they need an explanation, they don't deserve one, right? Because they're going to be the ones that don't really understand what you're saying or believe in what you say. So I just don't bother to give an explanation. No, I don't have the capacity to do that at this time, or my schedule doesn't allow it, period. But thank you for your thoughtfulness. Keep me in mind next time.
You know what that's undergirded by? And watch how she finishes this sentence. When you say yes to something,
you're automatically saying no to something else. Whether you realize it or not, you are. So if you're saying, yes, you're going to go to this particular meeting and it's, 3 days tucked away and I don't know, wherever, then that means you're taking those 3 days away from your family. So it better be worth it. That's 3 days you're taking away from your kids. That's 3 days that you're taking away from whatever. I just remember when I was leaving LA, heading to Harvard, and I was wrapping up my fellowship in neonatology, and I was moving on to this next season of my life. My mentor, who I love, this Hungarian gentleman named István Seri, neonatologist, amazing guy. He turned to me, famous neonatologist, world renowned, and he sat me down in the office, and I thought he was gonna, give me some good luck talk. But he basically looked me in the face. He said, "Don't be like me." And I was shocked. He was like, "Do not be like me." And I hope he doesn't mind me telling this story. He was like, I could have gone to 10 less meetings, wrote 5 less, articles, done, a year less of research. But now, my wife doesn't like me. I'm at odds with my kids, this, that, and another. And he's telling the story about his life. And I'm thinking, I'm looking up to him, but he's showing me what a real mentor does, which is love you enough to tell you the truth. Yeah, they want you to succeed, but they also want you to be healthy and balanced as an individual as well.
Yeah. So it's intentionality, right? Priorities.
And boundaries.
Well, man, that's been the most amazing, I think one of the most amazing episodes, because that's very real. And even
It's very real.
Even as we are sharing this with you, we're about to bounce, get in the car, and go to this child's thing. So
we can surprise her.
we're gonna surprise her. That's what parents do, and we're gonna do it together. So listen, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you comment, let us know. Follow Dr. Steph, follow me. We are so thankful that you've been a part of this episode. And listen, thank you for supporting us. We appreciate it. I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
And we out.